Rock and roll was a lifelong dream, but it had to end. And as the lights went down on my career, I decided to follow my heart and set out on a journey to explore different cultures and ways of living. Down there, a new world opened itself up to me. A world of new faces, places, and foods. Around every corner, a new experience. My name is Nick Paine. I am a culinary archeologist, traveling alone on a lifelong journey to preserve the world's ancient recipes. I discovered that many customs, including foods used by the natives, were disappearing every day. Saving these for future generations became my mission, and now I bring you some of the world's most exotic culinary traditions.
Well, this is another edition of the Exotic Kitchen. I happen to be in the Peruvian Amazon. This is the Bora. The Bora were once the most feared fighting tribe in this whole region. They also used to consume their enemies, but I seem to be their friend now because we've been drinking a little bit. So I want to thank you for joining me on the Exotic Kitchen, and let's begin the show here in Peru.
The Peruvian Amazon, the most mysterious and dangerous place on Earth. Many of the tribes I planned to visit had rarely seen a white man. Isolated, these Indians have developed their own ways of preserving food and surviving in the jungle. My expedition started here in a market near Iquitos. Products came from all over the Amazon. Green bananas, plátanos, are one of the main staples of the Amazonian diet. Shipped from large plantations in the jungle, the work of unloading the bundles is long and hard. For the workers who unload the boats, sleep is where you find it. The average family consumes over 75 pounds of bananas per week. This man will carry his weekly supply for several miles before reaching home. The smell of grilled fish and meat poured into the market air. As I wandered from booth to booth, all kinds of exotic dishes were being prepared. Even though there was a great quantity of fresh meat and poultry, much of it will be consumed today. The rest will have to be preserved. In this episode, I will show you the many different ways used by the Indians to cure meat. Smoking the meat is the easiest and oldest method known. Another way to preserve food is to let it live until needed. This monkey sells for $40 and is considered a delicacy. Turtles are kept by turning them over. Of those butchered for today's meal, nothing is wasted. The eggs, the meat, the feet, and various internal organs are all used.
This is the popular food around here. It comes from a palm tree. This is called suri. These are absolutely live, and they make anticuchos with them. They also stuff them.
Anticuchos are a type of shish kebab. These tree grubs will be marinated, skewered on a stick, and then grilled.
Over here we have anticuchos de suri.
The cooked suri is crispy on the outside and gooey in the middle. It has the consistency of raw oysters. Peru is the origin of chilies, and these are only a few of the many that have never been documented before.
It is not unusual to see exotic animals such as this sloth for sale, either as a pet or food. This market, like many others, has an area set aside for people who specialize in exotic herbs and cures from the jungle. These elixirs have been passed down through generations of oral history.
Para, ¿cómo se llama? Evita la caída del cabello.
Cabello?
Felipe tells me that everything he has learned is from the Indians who live and practice these methods every day.
Clavo huasca.
Clavo.
Clavo huasca. Chuchuasha.
Many of the elixirs are mixed with cañasco, a fermented sugarcane alcohol. The label promises that it contains medicinal plants, aphrodisiacs, and curative liquors. In its pure form, cañasco can guarantee one thing: a hangover. As I've done so often before, I followed my nose. This family is preparing lunch. Today's meal is anticucho, which means grilled food on a stick. These anticuchos are made with beef heart and take only a few minutes to grill. After lunch, we'll leave the market and head into the jungle.
Well, we've got all our bags packed up on the car here. That's one of our only modes of transportation around here. There aren't any vans here. I got a lot more luggage than I thought I would have. So from here, we're going to get on the boat and we're going to go into the Amazon. So let's get going.
If I'm drinking beer, don't shoot me, okay?
I got it.
This is Francisco Gripa, one of the most famous painters of the Amazon region. I didn't know it at the time, but 2 months later in the expedition, he would become one of my best friends. For now, I waved goodbye and continued my journey to learn how foods were preserved in the Amazon region.
This is my home for today, my little jungle hut.
This was the home of Margarita and Julio, two Quito Indians I had met before. They lived here in this simple hut, and this was the kitchen. It was approximately 100 degrees today, and inside it was closer to 110.
This is Margarita, and she's been making all of our food for us. And she made some great dishes for us. She's also washing our clothes. She's a real sweetheart. Que bonita.
While Margarita worked at home, Julio and his sons would spend all day fishing with nets and spears. Miguel was the little boy they had found on the banks of the Amazon. His family had left him behind, unable to feed or care for him. Since then, Julio and Margarita have raised him, providing food and teaching him how to fish.
Sí, Nicolás, aquí estamos pescando.
Julio's patience with me was amazing. He would fish all day and then come back and try to teach me the names of the fish he caught.
Hay el boquichico.
Chico,
El boquichico. Hay la palometa.
palometa.
Hay la piraña.
¿Piraña?
Piraña.
¿Es piraña aquí?
No, aquí no hay piraña. Había, pero ahorita ya no encontramos ya.
No tiene piraña.
Ya no tenemos.
The process of smoking fish is as old as the beginning of man. Here's an example. These fish were just recently caught by Julio in the river. Start a small fire, not very hot, a little bit of smoke, and you've got smoked fish. She's stacking the fish, she's cleaned them, and she's putting layers of salt between each one of the fish, and that'll help preserve the fish for a long time.
Because the ocean is so far away, salt is more precious than gold and is traded for everything.
This seems to be a pretty good fishing day for Julio. Most of the time, Julio doesn't catch any fish. So there are some days where he catches a lot and some days where he doesn't catch anything at all. So preserving it with salt and smoking it is probably one of the best ways to keep fish in the house when there's not very much food around.
In the evening, after it has cooled down a bit, the meal is prepared. Because of Julio's luck fishing today, Margarita will prepare a fish stew. In addition to bananas, potatoes are a staple. Peru has over 200 different varieties of potatoes. As a second dish, she prepares breadfruit, a starchy fruit that grows in tall tropical trees. If eaten before ripe, the fruit feels and tastes like bread. In addition to the fruit, the tree also produces latex, which the Indians use to caulk canoes.
Nombre?
Arenga.
Arenga.
After the meal and before the sun sets, Margarita will go back to the Amazon once again, this time to wash clothes.
We're here in the Amazon, and this right here is the feared piranha. And the piranha this time is being eaten instead of the piranha eating me. Let me show you what the teeth look like.
Look at those teeth. See how strong he is?
My Indian guide showed me the teeth and how strong their mouths are. One of the younger Indian boys didn't believe him and found out the hard way. Fishing for piranha was easy. All we needed was a piece of raw bloody meat on the end of a hook, and they would almost jump into our boat. I found the piranha to be a good-tasting fish, provided that you scaled it first and cut a few lines in the skin so it could barbecue correctly. When we would run out of fish or couldn't catch any, it was easy to buy or trade with the local Indians. They would paddle up to our boat and show us the fresh catch. Here, we traded a couple bottles of beer for some very large fish. After a 4-day boat ride, I arrived in Yanashi to begin my trek inland. For many of the children here, I was the first white person they had ever seen.
Really hot. Absolutely hot. The snake you just saw on the trail here, the little brown striped one, is called a cordylands. I was within about 10 inches from stepping on the back of this snake, and had I done so, I would have been dead within 24 hours. There's no way to get any help here. And thanks to my guide, Julio, back there, who's 73 years old, he saw it in time before I stepped on it. I don't really want to meet my maker any sooner than I should, so we're going to walk a little slower and watch a little more carefully. There's all types of fire ants and army ants that will hurt you. They will bite you, and the bite will burn for 3 days. So there's just all kinds of things here.
Leaving the jungle, we continued by boat. I was headed toward the Bora tribe to see their crops and food preservation techniques.
This is a plantation here in the Bora village. This plantation is a root crop by the name of yucca. Yucca is generally available all over the United States in most Latin American markets.
Looking like a white turnip, this large starchy root is a staple food of the Amazonian diet.
Huge banana trees. These are some of the typical foods of the native tribes here. Yucca and banana, platanos or plantains, is fried, boiled, made into soups and pies and all kinds of stuff. These are the staples of these particular Indians and most Indians throughout the Amazon area here in Peru. Above me is the achiote tree. This is the green version of achiote, and this is a red version of achiote. Both of these types of achiote are used in cooking, and other tribes use this particular type of achiote to paint their faces for war and also to protect from mosquitoes.
After a day exploring the jungle, I returned to the Casa Grande of the Bora tribe. Before leaving, I would be shown how they preserve fish for use during the dry season.
We're going to go into the main house here, which not only has an open sleeping area, which is typical of most Indian tribes, but this one way in the back has a kitchen in it. So let's go up and see what the kitchen looks like. Chambira. This ugly son of a gun is a chambita. It is of the family of the piranha. I have not been bitten by one of these yet, but this sucker would really hurt. Since this stove is suspended above the ground by wood and everything, the only place for them to smoke the meat are these suspended sticks up here. You see these sticks here? There's one up there. There's one over here. They actually hang the meat and the fish on that to slowly smoke over this fire. I want to thank you for joining me on this edition of the Exotic Kitchen. I have to leave now this wonderful place here in the Amazon in the Bora. The Bora has been very, very nice to me. They were once a very fierce fighting tribe, very feared in this area, but they have become mi amigos para toda la dia. So I want to thank you for joining me, and we'll take you to another country and other exotic places. So once again, this is Nick Paine with the Exotic Kitchen saying, try something different. It'll make a difference in your life.